Hello everybody and welcome back to I Command. This is TV Boy, and we've got some more spoilers from Season 10 to go over. Season 10 spoilers are dropping this week, and I'm a little bit behind, so I'm going to catch up here. So today, this is from Tuesday's article, July 2nd, and this was actually guest written by Alex. I want to say a big thank you to Alex, aka Destruct1, who volunteered to write this spoiler article. He worked with us along with many other players to help us get these cards play tested ahead of time. More play testing than the small group on the steering committee can get done in the same amount of time, and they were very helpful and instrumental really in getting these cards in a way better place than they were before they got this playtesting treatment. So big thank you to Alex for being part of that and for writing this article. Now the way we're going to do this is I'm going to look at these cards and I'm going to be reacting to them as if I'm seeing them for the first time as a player. I'm going to pretend that I haven't been working on these cards for 3, 6 months, years since for some of them, and I'm just going to kind of react the way if I was seeing them as a player. Don't worry, I'm good at it. We've already done it for the first one, and it's going to be good for this one. So let's take a look here. You can read the article. The link's going to be in the video description if you want, but I'm just going to be looking at the cards that they have shown so far. And the first one is going to be the Wing Guard. So the Wing Guards are a Trooper Guardian. These are from the Bespin Gambit expansion originally. How do I make that go away? There we go. So originally from the Bespin Gambit expansion. Let's take a look actually at what they used to look like. Wing Guard. So originally were 9 points for the elites, 3-point figures. We lowered their cost down to 7 for the deployment group, and they used to be able to deal strain if there was a friendly non-guardian figure being attacked adjacent to them. They could suffer a strain to deal a strain. So now what they do, they're still 7 points, they're 3-figure cost. Surge for +2 damage. They've traded the Surge for a cover 2 for a Surge for +3 accuracy. They're still 5 health, 4 speed, black defense dice, blue-green attack. But now they have 2 new abilities. So Keep the Peace is still there, but they have another ability. Let's talk about Keep the Peace. It's different now. It says when a hostile figure declares an attack targeting a space adjacent to you, the attacker suffers 1 strain. Limit 1 Keep the Peace ability per group activation. So what does this mean? What's the difference? Well, the Wing Guards Keep the Peace ability no longer only works when a adjacent non-guardian is defending. It's any adjacent space to them is being attacked. So they actually will trigger on each other now as well. So if there's 2 Wing Guards standing next to each other, and you attack one, the other one will deal 1 strain to the attacker. Now it's limit once per group activation. So this is important because it means that you can't use multiple Keep the Peace abilities in the same group activation, and that means like if you had a group of stormtroopers and they all activate and they all declare an attack on something that's adjacent to a Wing Guard, the Keep the Peace ability will only trigger once during that entire group activation. So that was an important limiting factor. That's an important limiting factor to keep in mind. But they no longer have to suffer strain to use the ability, and they now cover each other. And by the way, that applies to multiple groups of Wing Guard as well. So if you have 2 groups of Wing Guard, you can still only use 1 Keep the Peace ability per group activation. Now, their second ability spices them up quite a bit. Bespin Security is a new ability that says you may include Lando Calrissian in your army. So you can bring the Rebel deployment group Lando Calrissian in your army. And by the way, I'm looking at this, it does not say if your army affiliation is mercenary the way that the Jawa does. So you can actually bring Lando into the Empire with this, which honestly pretty thematic considering he was working with the Empire in Empire Strikes Back. So that's pretty cool. So if you bring these with Temporary Alliance into an Empire list, you can bring Lando as well. It says when an adjacent leader or scum trooper is performing an attack, it may re-roll 1 attack die, limit 1 Bespin Security ability per attack. So this is actually a retrain of their squad training. So the squad training let them re-roll whenever they were adjacent to another friendly trooper. Now they actually give re-rolls to other friendly troopers, so they give it to each other. But they can also give it to other troopers that are scum troopers or to other leaders. So that includes any Imperial leader, as well as Lando himself. So that's pretty cool. These are going to be very interesting. They were pretty strong when I saw them in playtesting. They are going to be very interesting to see in play. I think they're going to be definitely. We're probably going to see them being played as a singular group rather than multiples due to the restriction. But nothing wrong with that. It'll be interesting to see what people do with being able to bring Lando into an Imperial list. I don't know that there's a whole lot of synergy there because he is a smuggler. However, you can use Temporary Alliance to bring in a second mercenary group in addition to the Wing Guards and Lando. So you could bring in another smuggler with Lando and make use of some smuggler command cards and abilities. Alright, let's look at the next card. We've got a couple to go over here. So the next one is Smoke Grenade. So this is a 1-point command card, and this is for troopers or technicians. So this is a new technician card, which is a trait that we introduced back in Season 9. So this is a brand new card. It's never existed in the game before. Costs a special action. It says choose a space within 2 spaces. Place 1 energy shield in that space. Then a friendly figure within 2 spaces of the chosen space gains 2 movement points. Discard the energy shield at the end of the next round. So I want to clarify, based on the wording here, you can choose yourself. So whatever figure uses this card, they can choose them after they choose the space within 2 spaces. They will, of course, be within 2 spaces of that space, and therefore they can be the figure that gains the 2 movement points. So it's kind of like almost a half action if you think about it, right? If you have 4 speed, normally you would spend an action to get 4 movement points. You can use this, you get 2 movement points instead, but you get to put down this energy shield. Now, what is an energy shield if you have forgotten? Energy shield is looking at going back to the Heart of the Empire rules, introduced in the Heart of the Empire expansion. Energy shields, which we see here, are these tokens, and they block line of sight, but they don't block movement. So they're very interesting. You can see there's a diagram here. You can check out this. The Heart of the Empire rulebook is on our IACP website, but you can also go to the Fantasy Flight Games Imperial Assault page to see it there as well. But it shows you how it works. So basically it blocks line of sight, just like if it was a blocking terrain square, but it doesn't block movement the way blocking terrain does. So that is energy shield. So it stays in play for 2 turns actually. It stays in play for the turn that you use the card, and then for another full turn after that, and then it dissipates at the end of the next round. So very powerful to be able to block line of sight with this without blocking your own movement. You can set up some really good cover spaces with this and be able to threaten different parts of the map with your range figures. Or you could use it with close range figures, like I'm thinking Chewbacca. Cal Kestis is a technician, so you could use this with Cal and be able to like move 6 spaces and then put down a smoke grenade and hide behind that grenade so that you're closer to your opponent, and even maybe be within 3 spaces. Use Force Slow to target something at the end of the round, and you're not as exposed as if you had moved out into the open or moved up close to your opponent with no terrain there to block line of sight to you. Will be interesting to see too what troopers can do with this. I could see this being good with troopers that have mounted, so like the Dewbacks and Taro. You can move 5 spaces basically and still have an action to attack and be able to put this down to block line of sight to you. It could be good. So this looks really cool. Next, and then finally we've got Take Position. Now this is a retrained, redone version of this card. The original one, let's see. Original one was for guardians or vehicles. You can see you had to spend an action to get +1 blocks, or you could spend 2 actions to get a move and +2 blocks. So it's okay. I've actually seen this card used. I had seen this card used in the past, specifically with the broken Mandalorian, the one that had the Beskar spear. It was like super broken with him. But we don't, since he got removed from the game, from the project, we haven't really seen that very much. So we see a new version here. Still 0 points, still guardian or vehicle only. Using your activation during this round, apply +1 block to your defense results, and you cannot be pushed except by massive figures. The reason that we have that I think that except by massive figures is there is because the problem is you end up with a problem with, if you say you just cannot be pushed, but then massive figures can still technically overlap you and end their movement overlapping you, then what happens? Now you have the problem of an unstoppable force hitting an immovable object. It creates a paradox, and we can't have that in a game. So we have that exception for massive figures. But otherwise, it stops things like Onar's push, Onar's rush. Actually, let's see. And in fact, I think he can't even deal damage. But let me check. It might deal damage and push. You may push, and if you do, that figure suffers from damage. So you cannot be pushed or dealt damage by Onar's rush. Similar, you can't be pushed by anything that pushes. So Shyla, Forlom can't push you. Chopper can't be pushed by Chewbacca's slam, although you'll still suffer damage. And then things like force push or looking for a fight. And these are integral to parting blow combos, so it makes you immune to that. But it also just means you can't be pushed off of an objective, which is nice. It's very hard to push massive figures, so that part won't certainly be that relevant for like massive vehicles. But on Guardians, I can see this being very important. Vehicle troops like jet troopers, and then that +1 block is going to be pretty hard to deal with, especially if you use it on a vehicle, which has the option to play fuel upgrades. You can get +1 block and +1 evade for the turn. I don't think there's anything Guardians have that's similar, but yeah, that's going to be the +1 block is going to be nice. It is during your activation, so you you'll have to activate to get the block. So you can sneak under this if you activate first and hit a Guardian or vehicle before they can activate. But yeah, this one looks good. So those are our 3 cards from Tuesday. We're going to be back to spoil the ones from Thursday. Is going to be actually my article coming out on Thursday, but we'll also have an article on Wednesday that I'll be talking about when that comes out. So probably the day you're watching this. So check back this afternoon, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Thanks.